Meet the new Vauxhall Grandland, and yes, it's another SUV. This is Vauxhall's biggest SUV. They make 3 at the moment. They make the Grandland X, the Mocha X, and now this, the Grandland X. And in terms of sales, Vauxhall thinks this is going to be their second biggest selling car overall, just behind Corsa. So yeah, this is quite important for Vauxhall. Highlights? Well, there are 2 engines, one petrol, one diesel, 2 gearboxes, one automatic, one manual, and a new system called IntelliGrip, which basically uses the car's ESP system to help you out in tricky situations when there's not very much grip. So there's normal, and there's sand, there's also snow, mud, and you can turn the ESP off altogether. I'll start with the diesel first of all, because that's the one I'm in at the moment. It's a 1.6 litre turbo diesel. It's got 120 brake horsepower and 221 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 60 takes 11.8 seconds, and the top speed is 117 miles an hour. It's got the torque that you want from a diesel, all the way from 1500 RPM up to about 3000 RPM, and it's quiet too. Rev it beyond 3000 RPM and it's quite noisy, and it doesn't really have much grunt. You do need to keep it between 1500 and 3000 RPM. The petrol is a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder turbo, and it's got 130 brake horsepower and 169 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 60 takes 11.1 seconds, and it's got the same top speed as the diesel, 117 miles an hour. It's a decent engine actually. It's not as torquey as the diesel, obviously, but when you rev it higher, it's completely happy being at high revs, and the rest of the time it's very quiet. It doesn't actually sound like a 3-cylinder engine sometimes. The steering is light and it's very quick as well, but it's trustworthy, I think. I get some sort of confidence in where the wheels are pointing and what the tyres are doing, and not every SUV on sale at the moment actually does that. Gearboxes, as I said, you've got an automatic and a manual. The automatic is a 6-speed automatic and the manual is a 6-speed manual. I haven't driven the automatic today. All of the cars here, as far as I know, have got manual gearboxes, but this 6-speed manual, it's okay, but not fantastic. There's a lot of movement in the gear lever. Like when you're in a gear, you can just move side to side and up and down. It could be better. The suspension is really good, actually. It's very comfortable and it's floaty, but controlled. I really like it. What about IntelliGrip, this system that allows you to drive on mud or snow or sand or whatever? Well, I'm afraid to say that I haven't actually tried it, because funny enough, the transporters with all the Vauxhalls are just over there, and the only cars we'll be able to drive off-road today, well, they're not this one. So I don't actually know how well the system behaves. From what I've heard from other journalists, it sounds pretty good, like it does a decent job, but this is not supposed to be a serious off-roader. This is, I mean, it uses the car's ESP program to manage grip at the tyres. It doesn't have, locking differentials, a low-range gearbox, anything like that. It just relies solely on the ESP. But hopefully, when I drive one, perhaps in a few months' time, drive it again, I'll find a muddy field that happens to be snowy with a sandpit. Design, spot on. I think it's the best looking SUV Vauxhall makes. As for the interior, it's a little bit ordinary. There's nothing particularly special about it, and Vauxhall says that they've got new materials and everything's just a bit nicer. I get that in places, but there are still some plastics around that are just a little bit hard, and it's just a bit ordinary. Again, I kind of think of Peugeot 3008 now when I think of SUV interiors, and this is not on the same level, both in terms of material quality and actually just design. But for £22,000, anywhere between 22 and 26,000, it's pretty well spec'd. You get a lot of equipment as standard that in some other cars you have to pay for, like Bluetooth or Apple CarPlay. Both of those are standard in this car. But that's it for now. I'll endeavour to report back once I've found a muddy, snowy, sandy field and let you know how that IntelliGrip system actually works. Make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, all the usual stuff, and make sure you visit newmotoring.com as well, because you should. I mean, you just should. You should always, every day, every single day.